30 minutes to church. Hope they get here on time.
Well, if they don't, the Reverend will hold up the service.
Hey, I'd ought to shave, Paul. Wouldn't take but a minute.
Ain't going to matter to Will how you look.
Will you look at that? He's got a nerve showing himself, especially today.
Should have run him out of town long ago. Parker!
You figuring to go to church today?
I've been going every Sunday the past 10 years. I don't see any reason to stop now.
Today's different. Take some good advice and go on back inside your shop.
And if I don't?
Today, I'd kill you.
Oh, now, Ab, you don't mean that. That's no way to talk today, what with Will and all.
Never really figured my boy would be coming home this way.
Time we were getting on to church.
From out of the West, Dick Powell's Zane Grey Theater. Tonight's star, Dick Powell.
I just can't believe that General Lee has given up.
4 years of fighting and sacrifice. And all we got left is them flags. Some things really reach a man deep down. Sort of get inside and take up living with him. And all of a sudden, there's a change. What he believed in is dead.
Been 3 years since I was in here.
What makes you think you're welcome now?
As of today, the war's over. Now, there's no sense holding a grudge with the past.
He was just about to drink a toast to the Confederacy. You're invited to join us.
No thanks.
$8 a glass for it.
Now, wait a minute, Roy. He's got a perfect right to come in here if he wants to.
You keep out of this, Lane.
Refreshments are served.
I said no.
Take it. Looks like I'm gonna have to change your mind. I never figured I'd get me a chance to gun a Yankee now the war is finished.
Like you say, Roy, it's all finished.
Ben Sanderson. We
Hey,
thought you were dead.
No one's heard from you since you went to join up.
I never was very good at writing letters. Cramps my fingers, huh, Roy?
Sure am glad to see you, Ben.
Got home myself just 2 weeks
You
ago.
did? How are you, Mr. Richards?
Old and tired, Ben. Glad you made it back.
I'm pleased to be home. Mighty pleased. Will turn up yet?
They killed him at Petersburg.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
He's a good boy. Couldn't have wished for a better son.
Yeah. Well, you've still got Roy here.
Yeah, I still have Roy.
You thought so much of him, you should have kept him here and let me go instead. After all, I was the oldest.
You were better fit to help run the ranch. Come on, Ben. Pete, you got yourself a customer.
Say, Ben, did you bring back any Yankee souvenirs? I always wanted me one of them general swords.
You know, those generals are kind of hard to catch up with, Stan. I have got a canteen, though, in my saddlebag. Practically new. You can have it.
Fine.
Good. How are you, Mr. Parker?
Ben?
Dan, you don't want to mess with him. His feelings was for the Yankees.
How are you?
Welcome home, Ben.
Thank you.
Well, now I've seen everything.
Billying up to a Yank.
To one nation, one union.
Confederacy.
Nice to have you home.
Thank you. What's the matter with Parker's right hand?
Now that you're home, I guess you'll be wanting your old job back, eh, Ben?
Well, I'd still like to know what happened to his hand.
Well, you know how Park was always shooting his mouth off about how the North was right and we was wrong. Well, one night some of the boys got...
They was drunk and all riled up over the war. Otherwise, it'd never have happened.
Oh?
Some of the boys threw a rope on him and dragged him up the street to the house.
Broke his arm in 2 places, and it just never healed right.
Hmm. Well, the war's over. It's time people started to learn that a Yankee's also a human being.
Teaching some folks ain't going to be easy, Ben.
Depends on the teacher, wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Or the student.
Yeah. Say, was you saying something about my old job?
It's waiting for you. Martin Turner's been acting sheriff, but now that you're back,
If I remember right, you still got a year of your office term to run out, Ben. As soon as you're ready to start in, say the word.
Well, I'll put the badge back on in the morning.
Good, let's drink to that. Please set him up again.
I just never saw anything like it in my life. You know, the air was so thick with bullets you could actually see them. Swarms of bees. Seen a full-grown man just standing there crying like a baby.
Must have been some ruckus.
There weren't no fight. It was a slaughter. And neither side know who won or cared for that matter.
Was he Yankee?
Who?
Fellow was crying.
No, he was one of our boys. It was captain, as well as I remember.
No, I don't believe that, John. There weren't any cowards on our side. Yeah, get Ben to prove it. He knows.
Prove what, Roy? Mr. Richards?
Ben, do you ever see any cowards on our side?
Well, let's see.
I didn't say nothing about cowards. I just said we had some men fighting for us that was just as scared as some they had fighting for them.
Oh. Well, you see, Roy, being a coward and being afraid isn't exactly the same thing.
Well, if you're scared, you yell to my way of thinking.
Well, I wouldn't say that's so exactly. Yeah, sure what I mean. There. I've taken out all the bullets but one. Put it up your head and pull the trigger.
Oh, you going crazy? I'm liable to get my head blowed off.
then you admit to being a coward. That it, Roy?
Well, no, I'm not. It's just that... Well, you ain't hardly being fair. I mean, just because I'm scared of getting killed...
Doesn't mean you're a coward. Just means you're afraid.
Well, I guess there's no argument as to who won that argument.
Say, Ben, how about that canteen souvenir you promised me?
Oh, hold on, I'll get it for you.
It's a good-looking horse you got there, Ben.
Huh? Thanks.
I notice he's wearing a Union brand. You get him from a Yank officer?
No, I didn't.
Well, a good horse is a good horse, no matter where he got it.
Let me have that stamp.
Well, there's no harm in looking, is there? Well, what do you know? Ben got himself a medal and was too modest to tell anybody about it. Now, if I'd have won me a decoration, I sure would have let folks know about it.
Not if you'd have won this one, you wouldn't. It's a Yankee medal.
What side you fight on, Ben?
I fought for the North.
All the time pretending to be one of us.
I didn't pretend anything, Mr. Richards. Man's got a right to fight for what he believes. I knew it'd be a while before most of you'd see that. I doubt if he could yet. I saw no reason to tell you until you asked me. Figured it was my business.
It's our business now.
Only if you make it so, Roy, and I'd advise against it.
He's just talking big.
Anybody else want to make it his business? Richards. Roy, nice of you to drop in. Sit down, we'll have a little talk.
This ain't a social visit. I come for your badge. This town don't need you to protect it.
Well, I think it does.
The word's gone out. Probably all over the county by now. Every man who handled a gun for the Confederacy will mark it down in his mind. When he comes into town, he'll come in hating.
Well, I think you're wrong. The men who came back from the war have had enough fighting for a while. The rest of them would just be troublemakers anyway.
You mean you won't quit?
Job's got a year to go. It pays well.
I think we ought to give Ben a chance. There's nobody around can do the job better, and I think most of the people in town will agree with me.
I'll pay you off. Give you a full year's salary. Hand over your badge.
Oh, I think I'll keep it for the year, Mr. Richards. And then maybe I'll try to get you to sell me that range land down by Will Creek. Always kind of thought I'd like to have a ranch there.
No Yankee is going to be a neighbor of mine.
Well, I figured you might think like that. And that's one of the reasons I'm going to keep the job. Because when a man like you feels the way you do, this town needs me. Well, Park and I aren't the only Yankees in town now. We got company. Some Union soldiers just rode in.
Smells of skunk in here. Pete, why don't you open up a window?
Beer. Now, I heard tell this was right friendly country.
It is. But we're particular who we drink with.
Rubbing shoulders with rebels isn't my idea of pleasure either.
I never could tolerate a blue uniform.
Well, then you better start to get used to that color. The Army's setting up a post 20 miles from this town. We're going to patrol this area, cover the border, see if we can't stop some of the raiding that's been going on in this section.
Sure, as between Yankees and Raiders, I'll take the Raiders.
I'm still waiting for that beer, Mr. Bartender.
You're out of bounds, Bluebelly. Can't you see those flags?
Trouble with you folks is you're still living in the past. And what you need is a reminder of the present. Hank, let's bring these folks up to date. You go up to my saddlebag and fetch in that flag.
Where you are, soldier boy.
It's all right, I'll go and fetch it myself.
Same applies to you, Sergeant.
Are you aiming to stop me?
The only way you go after that flag is feet first.
No, I don't mind a fair fight, but that gun you're wearing is in an open holster. Mine's buttoned down.
Then unbutton it.
Let's all stand easy. It's going to be a habit with you. What's trouble, soldier?
Well, I was about to put up an American flag in here, and these folks don't seem to like the idea.
Sounds reasonable enough. You got permission?
No, I haven't.
Well, then you can't put it up. This is private property.
I might have expected that.
You don't have to worry about him. You're both the same breed of blue-bellied skunk.
Is that so?
It really doesn't make any difference. You still can't put it up without permission.
Well, now, what do you know? Here's an ex-Union soldier protecting a red town. Mister, you must be suffering from battle shock.
Maybe so. Sergeant, why don't you go on about your business, huh?
Well, maybe you can help me with my business, Sheriff. The Army needs food supplies, and I'm here to buy cattle.
You're wasting your time, Yankee. And a rancher within 500 miles of here would sell you a chicken, let alone a steer.
Every Yankee soldier in that camp will starve to death before he gets any of our beef served to him.
The Army's willing to pay top price, hard money.
Well, I know most of the ranchers around here, Sergeant. Maybe if I talk to them,
I'd appreciate any help you can give us, Sheriff.
All right. Come along. We'll see what we can do.
Some of you boys better go out and talk to the other ranchers. Maybe the smell of money is stronger than their pride. You go with them, Roy. Make sure they don't miss anyone.
cattle running that range to feed the whole Union Army. And all those ranchers can say is we don't have any to spare.
Well, Ab Richards is a powerful man in this part of the country. Very few people will cross him.
We don't have to get permission. You know we can commandeer that beef. We just pay him a fair price, ride in there and take it. All I need is an order from post commander.
Oh, yes, I guess you could do that, but I'd sure hate to see it happen. Losing the war hit these folks hard. Right now it hurts real bad. Just gotta give them a little time.
What's the regiment supposed to do in the meantime? Starve?
Ben, Sergeant. Morning, Mr. Keyes. Mr. Keyes owns a small ranch, runs about 500 head. Tell him what you told me, Mr. Keyes.
You still in the market for them cattle?
I sure am.
Well, you found yourself a seller.
Now, I appreciate what you're doing for the Army, Mr. Keyes.
I don't give a hang about the Army. This is for my kids. They've been doing without long enough.
You're doing the right thing, Mr. Keyes.
I hope so. Of course, Ab Richards ain't gonna like it.
Yeah, well, what he thinks doesn't make any difference for my money.
Ab owns the place next to me. He can make it mighty unpleasant if he's a mind to.
A man's got a right to do what he thinks best. If you have any trouble, I'll handle it.
When would you like to make the deal? Tomorrow morning too soon?
That's all right with me. Meet you at my place, say 10 o'clock. I'll have the tally sheet all made out.
Good.
First Yankee I shook hands with in 5 years.
Didn't hurt a bit, did it? Come on, Mr. Keyes.
Hold on, Keyes. Been shopping for the missus?
Yeah, we needed some things real bad, and she asked
Where
me...
did you get the money?
My credit's still good. Lane trusts me.
Don't lie to me, you sold us out.
Now, what gives you an idea like that?
We saw you in Ben's office talking to that Yankee sergeant. You made a cattle deal with him, didn't you?
Well, my family ain't gonna starve just to please you and Ab.
I think we better have a talk, Keyes. A nice long talk.
Doesn't seem to be anybody around. Maybe he changed his mind.
He's changed his mind, all right. Go on. Maybe they'd rather hear it from you. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Tell them what you got to say.
I changed my mind. I don't want to sell.
You mean they won't let you sell? Where'd you get that bruise, Mr. Keyes?
Well, he fell. Accidental-like.
I didn't ask you what happened. Let Keyes tell me himself. Now, where'd you get it?
I don't want no trouble, Ben. Let's forget the whole thing.
All right. If that's the way you want it. Sergeant, how long will it take you to get back to the post and get a commandeering order?
Have it here this afternoon.
Good. Well, you won't have to sell your cattle to the Army, Mr. Keyes. They can pay a fair price, and they'll just take them without your permission.
Now, Ab, why don't you stop being so bullheaded? The war's over. Now's the time to start thinking of the future, not the past.
It's like Keyes said. No sale. That's how it's going to be.
Well, you're wrong, Mr. Richards. This is something none of us can stop.
I think I can.
Go ahead, Sergeant. Lane. Roy, why don't you stop trying to walk in your brother's shoes? You've already lost one son in the war, Ab. I don't want to be responsible for you losing another.
Ben, look out! Roy! Roy! Lad. Roy. Here, boy.
During the war, I saw a lot of men die, Mr. Richards, on both sides. But this was a waste. I'm sorry. Afternoon, Mr. Richards. Care to join us in a drink? Eat.
Man has sons. Spends his life working to build something for him. And all of a sudden, he's alone. I had plenty of time to think these past few days. When Will was killed, I could almost feel proud of him. He gave his life for something he believed in. Wasn't that way with Roy. He died because of something I wanted.
It's been a bitter war, Mr. Richards, because feelings were strong on both sides. And I know those flags mean a great deal to you and to the whole South. But maybe it's time to put another one up there alongside of them to show that this part of the country doesn't hold on to a grudge.
Did you say something about having a Union flag?
Yeah, I sure did.
Go get it.
Yes, sir.
To church. Hope they get here on time.
Well, if they don't, the Reverend will hold up the service.
Hey, I'd ought to shave, Paul. Wouldn't take but a minute.
Ain't gonna matter to Will how you look.
Will you look at that? He's got a nerve showing himself, especially today.
Should have run him out of town long ago. Parker!
You figuring to go to church today?
I've been going every Sunday the past 10 years. I don't see any reason to stop now.
Today's different. Take some good advice and go on back inside your shop.
And if I don't?
Today, I'd kill you.
Oh, now, Ab, you don't mean that. That's no way to talk today, what with Will and all.
Figured my boy would be coming home this way.
Time we were getting on to church.
From out of the West, Dick Powell's Zane Grey Theater. Tonight's star, Dick Powell.
I just can't believe that